Well, today I sort of ran into a slightly unusual problem, and this doesn't happen very often, but I'm going to show you how to fix it anyway. Just take a minute and look at this picture here and see if you can spot the problem. Well, the problem happens to be that there's no switch in here. I pushed the button on it and it literally, it just fell right out. So that's not going to do me any good. Admittedly, my first thought was, oh crap, I'm going to have to buy another bench grinder. But that's not the case. It's actually a very, very simple fix, and all this is a switch, so all we have to do is replace the switch. First thing we do is unplug it, so there's no power running to it, and we don't accidentally shock ourselves. That could be a very, very bad day. Now we're just going to take out these two screws here, and see what we have underneath. So we'll flip this metal plate down, and on the back here, we have two connectors that we'll just simply unplug. And here is the switch. We'll push in these metal tabs, or these plastic tabs on the side, and pop it straight out of this metal plate here. So here we have our old rocker switch, which had a copper contact in the bottom, and we had the spring and the switch part of it that moved back and forth. The plastic on there is actually snapped. Now we can compare it with the new switch, which is basically the exact same thing. It's a little bit more modern, a little bit rounder of a design, but it'll still slip in there nicely and still has the same two contacts on the bottom, same size, same shape, everything. Now, it's very important before you install a switch, or even pick one out from Radio Shack or wherever you go, get one, order it offline, whatever, that you make sure that the voltage and the amperage ratings are high enough to meet what type of load it's being put under. So this old one says 15 amps, 125 volts AC, which means it can run 15 amps steady through here at 125 volts. Now this one actually has two ratings on here. The first one says 16 amps, 125 volt AC, so we already know it's going to work. The second rating on here says 10 amps, 250 volts AC. Since we're working with 125 volts, actually 115 volts here, we're not going to worry about the second rating. And we know that this can easily handle the load that this thing requires. So we know it's going to work, and we're going to put it in. Now this is just a basic on-off switch. All this does is either completes or disconnects a circuit to allow power to flow or cut it off from the bench grinder here. It doesn't matter which one of these wires goes to which one of these terminals. It'll work the exact same way either way. So before we forget, pop the switch right into here, onto this plate here. It snaps right in, and these locking plastic tabs on the side hold it in. And this thing is so worn off that you can barely see the on-off anymore, so I'm not even going to worry if this is correct or not. If you're wondering though, this is off and this is on, so it is the correct orientation. Now these leads in here are a little bit tight. There's a zip tie holding them in down there, so they don't give me much wiggle room to work with. So what I like to do is use a little tool like this, but you can use either a pair of these or needle nose pliers or something to gently grab them, so then you can plug in the leads. I know it's hard to see, but I'm gonna see if I can do this one where you can see it. This is more difficult to do trying to stand behind a camera. Alright, so now that they're both plugged in, make sure they're both tight on there. I'm kind of grabbing them and using my index finger here to push down and making sure they're connected all the way. We'll make sure the insulation is on all the way, and then all we have left to do is screw the plate back on and give it a try. Now that we have our new switch installed and it's in the off position, we can go ahead and plug it back in. Now we'll turn the machine on and continue working.